Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Picture this. It's 2 a.m., the lab is quiet, and you're staring at a spreadsheet filled with data from months of hard work. The results, they're close, but not quite what you expected. Not quite significant. A tiny voice in your head whispers, "What if I just adjusted a few numbers? Who would even know?" If that scenario feels even a little familiar, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the murky waters of research ethics, specifically the common dilemmas that postgraduate students like you and me face every single day. This isn't just about avoiding a slap on the wrist. It's about the very soul of your research and your future career. So, let's talk about the big one first: fabrication and falsification. This is the stuff of academic horror stories. Fabrication is making up data out of thin air. Falsification is manipulating your research materials, equipment, or processes, or changing and omitting data so that your research doesn't look quite accurate in the record. The pressure to publish, to get that wow result, is immense. Your supervisor is waiting, your funding is on the line, and your entire thesis seems to hang in the balance. It's so tempting to nudge the data in the right direction. But here's the stark reality. Getting caught means more than just a failed project. It can lead to retraction of papers, expulsion from your program, and a permanent black mark on your academic record. It's a career-ending move. Remember, the goal of research is to find the truth, not to manufacture a convenient one. Negative or inconclusive results are still results. They tell a story, and that story is just as valuable. It contributes to the scientific conversation and prevents others from going down the same dead end. Next up, let's discuss something a bit more subtle, but just as serious: plagiarism. We all know the basics. Don't copy and paste without citation. But for postgrads, it gets more complex. Have you ever heard of self-plagiarism? This is when you reuse significant portions of your own previously published work without citing it. For example, using a chapter from your master's thesis in your PhD dissertation without proper attribution, or submitting a very similar paper to two different journals. It might feel like it's your work, so you can do what you want with it, right? But journals and universities see it as a form of deception, as you're presenting old work as new. Then there's mosaic plagiarism, or patch writing, where you take phrases from a source, change a few words here and there, and pass it off as your own summary. Modern plagiarism detection software is incredibly sophisticated. It will find it. The best defense is a good offense. Take meticulous notes. Always cite as you write. And when in doubt, use quotation marks or paraphrase completely in your own words, always followed by a citation. It takes more time, but it protects your integrity. Now, let's move into the realm of authorship. This is a minefield of potential conflict. Who gets to be an author on a paper? And in what order? Ideally, this is a conversation you have with your supervisor and lab mates at the very beginning of a project. But often it's not. The International Committee of Medical Journal Editors, or ICMJ, has some great guidelines. They say authorship should be based on substantial contributions to the conception or design of the work, the acquisition, analysis, or interpretation of data, and drafting or critically revising the work. Just because someone is the head of the lab or secured the funding doesn't automatically make them an author if they didn't contribute intellectually. This can lead to awkward situations. You might feel pressured to add a gift author who didn't do much, or you might find your own significant contributions are being overlooked. My advice: document everything. Keep records of your contributions. And try to have open, respectful conversations about authorship expectations early and often. If you feel you're being treated unfairly, don't be afraid to seek advice from a graduate program director or a university ombudsman. They are there to help you navigate these tricky situations. Another huge area, especially for those in social sciences, psychology, or medicine, is informed consent and confidentiality. When you're working with human participants, your ethical obligations are paramount. Informed consent isn't just a form to be signed. It's an ongoing process. Your participants need to fully understand what they're signing up for, the procedures, the risks, the benefits, and their right to withdraw at any time without penalty. Are you being completely transparent? Are you using language that is easy to understand, avoiding technical jargon? Then there's confidentiality. You are the guardian of your participants' data. This means storing it securely, anonymizing it properly, and ensuring that no individual can be identified from your published results. A simple slip-up, like leaving a laptop with sensitive data in a coffee shop, can have devastating consequences for your participants and for the reputation of your institution. Always follow your university's data management protocols to the letter. These participants are entrusting you with their time, their experiences, and their personal information. Honoring that trust is a non-negotiable part of being an ethical researcher. Let's also talk about conflicts of interest. A conflict of interest arises when your personal interests or your financial or professional obligations could potentially compromise your professional judgment as a researcher. The most obvious example is when your research is funded by a company that has a vested interest in the outcome. For example, if a pharmaceutical company is paying for your study on a new drug, there's an inherent pressure for the results to be positive. This doesn't mean you can't accept such funding, but it does mean you have to be transparent about it. You must declare this conflict of interest in any publications or presentations. It's about letting your audience know about potential biases so they can evaluate your work with all the facts. Conflicts can also be non-financial. Maybe you're reviewing a paper written by a close friend or a direct competitor. Your personal relationship could sway your judgment. The key here is always disclosure. Be honest with yourself and with others about any potential conflicts. Transparency builds trust. So what do you do when you find yourself in one of these ethical gray areas? It can feel incredibly isolating. First, don't panic and don't make a rash decision. Take a step back and breathe. The most important thing is not to handle it alone. Your first port of call should usually be your supervisor. They have more experience and can offer guidance. A good supervisor will support you in making the right ethical choice, even if it's the harder one. If you don't feel comfortable talking to your supervisor, perhaps they are part of the problem. Your university has resources. Look for your graduate school's dean, an ethics office, or an ombudsman. These are neutral parties trained to help you navigate these issues confidentially. You can also consult your university's Institutional Review Board, or IRB. They are the experts on the rules. And talk to your peers. Other postgraduate students in your department have likely faced similar dilemmas. Sharing your experiences in a trusted circle can provide both emotional support and practical solutions. Remember, asking for help is a sign of strength and integrity, not weakness. Ultimately, research ethics isn't a checklist you complete once. It's a mindset. It's a continuous commitment to honesty, integrity, and respect. It's about respecting your data, respecting your colleagues, respecting your participants, and respecting the scientific process itself. The choices you make in the quiet hours of the lab or library will define you as a researcher. Building a reputation for ethical, rigorous work is the most valuable asset you will ever have. It will follow you long after your thesis is bound and your degree is conferred. Your work is your legacy, so make it one you can be proud of. Pursue truth, be transparent, and never be afraid to ask for help. That's how we build a better, more trustworthy scientific community for everyone. Thanks so much for watching today. If you've ever faced an ethical dilemma in your own research, I'd love to hear about your experience, anonymously, of course, in the comments below. Let's learn from each other. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful and subscribe for more content on navigating postgraduate life. We'll see you in the next one.